This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your host, Brandon Cook, Nick Harrington, and Travis Foch.
So, breaking news. Nick is going to finally be in frickin' Toledo at a walleye game this weekend. After all this time. How many years? It's been years. There's years. We're past a year.
I don't think it's been past a year.
He was here for the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that game.
You guys surprised me. Oh, yeah, you wouldn't remember that game.
We made a regular... Did we make a regular season game? Did I make a regular season game last year?
I don't think so.
In Kalamazoo, maybe.
Yeah, I know Kalamazoo, but I thought I did one in Toledo. And then we went to playoffs after. Okay.
I don't believe you did, but you're going to be back in the bank tank. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited. I love being in Toledo. I absolutely love being in Toledo. I hate the drive, especially the roundabouts once we get towards Troy. And
we're just not getting off at that exit ever again. Ever.
But
again.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be interesting. It'll be a good time. I'm excited to reconnect and actually meet these people that we've talked to over a Zoom call for the last over the summer and now. So and experience the walleye side of media and credentials. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
It will be fun for you. I think you're more excited that maybe Hawk will ease back on his chirps at you, but I highly doubt it because it's only one time. You got to get 2 or 3 in there for those chirps to kind of disappear.
I'm just hoping that they win, honestly, because that's going to be a good fresh breath of fresh air for us. You know, I mean, depending on how tomorrow, Wednesday, goes for the Griffins, winning Wednesday and Friday, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I will say I did send a note last night to I sent a note to Ace and I said the whole crew's coming Saturday. And I think his reply was, "We better bring our A game."
That's right.
Yeah, because if not, then there'll be chirps.
I'm excited to see him again too, man. I know we saw him, you and me, Travis. We saw him at the practice that one day, but not since the interview. I haven't seen him since. I'm excited for that one.
You know what's funny? So the game after that interview went live. He stands in the far left corner of the bench, and I was standing up at my seat, and I just looked down, and he turned around and was looking up my way, and I pointed, and he's like, I've seen him quite a few times since we had him on. Love talking to that guy.
Oh, it's a great time. I also love talking about Toledo Walleye hockey, and that's what we're here to do today. And we are back with the Hockeytown West podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Travis.
And yeah, this is our Walleye Weekly episode, the episode that is dedicated strictly to updating you on everything Toledo Walleye. And we have 3 fun games to talk about from this past weekend here with the Walleye. A very confusing weekend of coverage for Nick and myself with the Grand Rapids Griffins being in Iowa, playing Iowa, and the Toledo Walleye being in Iowa, playing Iowa. Posting stuff on social media was just pure confusion over the weekend for both of us. And I don't know how we made it through it without too many mistakes. And if there were mistakes, and I don't think anybody publicly saw them fast enough, at least. So good on us there. But before we dive into the game, let's preface this with this is our 3rd recording of the night. We've done 3 recordings today. We've done an interview, a show, and we're doing another show. We're trying to bust it all out because our crazy schedule this week. But like we said in the opening of the show, Nick and myself will be back in Toledo this weekend, and we are super excited to do that.
And we're bringing a guest.
We are bringing our friend Elaine, who, if you've been listening to the show for a while, she's been a guest of the show. She covers the Cleveland Monsters, she covers Grand Rapids Griffins, all things hockey. We're excited. I don't know if this is her first game or first game in a while. I can't remember, but she's been dying to get to a Toledo game, and we're excited to have her join us down there as well. But we're just personally excited to be back in the arena again. So if you see us around the concourse, make sure you say hi. We love talking to you fans while we're down there, and it's just such a fun and welcoming environment that I know we both are so excited to get back into. But let's dive into these games. But before we dive into these games, Trav, is there any news and updates in the lineup that we got to cover? It feels weird because we went through a Griffins episode without having to talk about call-ups and send-downs and injuries for once. Do we have anything in the Toledo side of things that we need to be aware of?
I feel like I should be asking you this question. I'm so out of the loop here because I've done nothing but work. I think mainly
Come on, Friedman. Come on.
Listen, I've gotten the wrong kind of screen time in the last few weeks to be Friedman working. It's all been behind the windshield, not looking at my phone.
Oh,
So
glad you
but,
clarified that. I was
it's
confused
just-
for a minute.
it's just been a crazy couple weeks, and here we are. And I think the biggest piece of news is that Dornbach went overseas.
Yeah, after he gets traded by the Walleye, ends up signing a deal over in Finland, which, again, we've got to ask Pat. Did he know about that before the trade? No, I'm kidding. It's a big deal for him. That's awesome. And another piece, seeing Lewandowski, obviously he's been back in the lineup now for a little bit, but another weekend of production from him. Just having these guys back, and Grant is still not back with the team. He's still with the freaking Cleveland Monsters. Send him back already, guys.
There is one other piece. I think Bliss went out Saturday and Sunday. Did not play. That's the only real other news that I am aware of.
Yes, I forgot about that too. Guy's been through a lot this season. We keep calling him a warrior every week. He seems to take a bad bump or a puck to the leg or something, and to miss a game, that's kind of expected at this point. If something gets tweaked there, it's always good to err on the side of precaution. So hopefully we do see him back for this weekend, and hopefully we at least get the chance to chat with him this weekend. We love talking with Blisser. He's always so welcoming to us and just a fun dude to talk about. If you've never seen our interview with him that we did over the summer, definitely go back on our YouTube page there and check that out. That was one of the most fun interviews we've had as a group, because when we say hockey bro, that is exactly how do you describe Trenton Bliss. He's just a bro. And it was so much fun. But let's dive into the games. Yeah, not a ton of news to talk about, so let's talk about the games, right? You got Friday night in Iowa against the Heartlanders, not the Iowa Wild. We're talking about the ECHL here. And Iowa ends up taking this game 4-2. The scoring goes as followed. Iowa kicked off the action 4 minutes in. Griffin Ness responded quickly at the 5-minute 57-second mark with his 11th of the season from Messina and Pilon. Iowa responds back in the second period there to retake the lead, but the Walleye answer right back. Sam Craggs with his 11th of the season from Lewandowski and Smerrick on the power play. Third period, Iowa gets one there, 14 minutes, 49 seconds into that period there on the power play. Kind of a heartbreaker, and then they end up with the empty netter in this one. Toledo does outshoot Iowa 30-29, goes 1 for 3 on the power play, 4 for 5 on the penalty kill, and in net in this one, you had Jan Bednar stopping 25 of 28 shots. This one just looks like a little bit of a rough game overall, and not the result we kind of wanted to see. Iowa's having a really good season, but when I say rough game, I mean it rough. You got some roughing penalties, you got a fighting, you've got a game misconduct for abusive officials on the Iowa side of things. This game kind of had everything. Travis, I know you were working. Nick, you were kind of watching this game. I just wanted to get your overall thoughts on this one as you kind of dialed into the Toledo action this weekend for us on the coverage side of things.
Yeah, it was it was a little different to watch it, on the ECHL. This game moved pretty fast. Just in general. Walleye really controlled a lot of this game. I felt it was very, very close, but I thought they deserved a little bit better. The score, based off the score, I was hoping it was going to be a little bit closer, like maybe closer to an overtime goal. I could have seen kind of play out that route, but very close game, very close, and just unfortunate bounce,
Yeah. I mean, that's really all it was. There is a positive to talk about. Griffin Ness getting back on the score sheet there, finding the back of the net. It's been a minute, Travis. It's good to see him start to find that again, and hopefully it's something we can see him find consistently here. But, we talked about in the last episode with these guys how the lineup will change and shift, and, the boost that Lewandowski adds into this. You see him on the score sheet in this game as well. But Nesser's goal there, it's got to feel good for him, right?
Well, yeah, it gets a goal and also had an assist Saturday, so he had 2 points in the 3 games this weekend. When he was going, they were playing so well. So I think the biggest thing is they just have to get him back going. Like we said, we talked about how they kind of needed that depth scoring, and you knew that you were going to see a shuffle in the lineup with Louis back. And I think the biggest thing is, he finally got to see the puck go in the back of the net again. Yeah, I mean, if you go back and look, it's like almost 2 months. So
yeah,
actually, yeah, little pretty close to 2 months. So good to see him finally get back rewarded and get back in the goal column.
Yeah, it is really good to see. And it's something that down the road here, like we say all the time, you're going to need depth scoring, and he does provide that. And yeah, it was a dry streak, but he's still got 11 goals on the season now. And it's still a great year from what we didn't know much about this guy coming in, and to see him hit that double-digit scoring mark and exceed the 10 for the season, like that's a big positive when you're talking about depth scoring.
Absolutely. I mean, you're going to need it, like you said, in the playoffs, and he's a double-digit goal guy, and obviously now with these guys back, he's slated lower in the lineup. But if you think back to the beginning of the year, that's when he was scoring. You know, he's making the most of opportunities and chances. So, you know, maybe I don't want to say it's like the Daniel Sprong effect, but maybe he's just one of them guys that scores, you know, on a lesser role. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just glad that he finally got going again. So I'm happy for him. He's a great kid. We've talked to him a few times, so I think that'll get his confidence going again. And I think they need it going to provide, like we said, that depth scoring. But all in all, I mean, like you said, Nick, just like rebound goal wins the game.
Yeah.
So it's tough, you know. And Iowa's tough this year. I think Toledo's actually got a losing record against Iowa this year overall. If you count shootout losses and overtime losses, I think they've only beat them twice.
I mean, for a program that last year, let's just be real, sucked, the turnaround they've had this year has actually been really impressive.
Yeah, hell of a turnaround for them. I mean, they don't draw very well attendance-wise. It's a miracle.
It was
I don't know how
empty.
yeah,
It was weird.
And there was like 1,100 Friday and like 2,100 Saturday. So it's crazy. But you know, like I just said, you know, they've been tough, right? It kind of reminds me of Kalamazoo last year, how they got a team that's kind of giving them some fits this year. So we'll see what happens as we go down the stretch and into the playoffs. But like you said, I mean, just it's good to see him back on the sheet, getting a goal and an assist over the weekend. Hopefully he can find that rhythm he had in the beginning of the year.
Let's talk about Craggs' goal, too. It's a name we're going to say a lot this weekend. He had a big weekend for himself. But
Yes, he did.
Power play goal, Smerek, great pass across ice there to Lewandowski. Lewandowski, no-look drop pass into the slot to find Craggs, who just rips it. And great goal. Good to see him finding the back of the net as well. Again, had a fantastic weekend. But this goal overall was just a really pretty, well-designed play on the power play.
Yeah, so you're going to have more input on it than I am, because like I said, I was so limited on what I got to see. And again with Craggs, like he went almost a month without a goal. So you got some guys going that were on droughts. And I think that's the biggest thing, is like you said, we'll talk about Craggs a lot throughout this episode, and rightfully deserved. But I think I kind of remember how this went through. But, you know, it was a nice play. And I think, again, it goes back to just getting him on the score sheet and scoring goals.
Yeah, 100%. That play, luckily, it's how I described it, because I've got the replays going next to me here to make sure I'm on top of my game, because I was covering the Griffins this weekend. But at the same time, yeah, it's just when we talk all the time in the Griffins episodes about power play goals and lack thereof, just seeing this movement and seeing this play, it's just a really nice thing to see, and it's refreshing for us to see. But overall, it does suck that they were on the losing end of this game, unfortunately. But again, Iowa's a good team. As we're talking right now, before we talk about the rest of the games, they are second in the Central Division, right behind Toledo. There's a 10-point separation there, but they are having a very good season, and they're a tough team to play. And it's kind of a team that, like you talk about the failure to draw fans, they really create their own energy and kind of work off of each other to build that up and kind of carry on against teams that are really tough to play against, like Toledo. So a lot of credit to them for how they played this weekend overall. So with that, I do want to transition into Saturday's game, because another game against Iowa. I almost said Iowa Wild. See, I knew that was going to happen in this episode at some point in time. Against the Iowa Heartlanders in Iowa. This one, it's a shootout loss. It's one of those games that's tough to swallow as a fan. You kind of felt like it was a game that we could win. You do at least take a point away from a team that's right behind you in the division, so that is a positive. But at the same time, you don't get the win, which always sucks, because we know these guys hate losing down there. We'll walk you through the scoring real quick in this one. And of course, like we said, we're going to talk about him a lot this weekend. And Sam Craggs kicks things off on the power play from Griffin Ness and Mitchell Lewandowski. Good start there, but Iowa does respond just a few minutes later to tie things up at the end of the first period to head into the second. And Iowa kicks off the action right away in the second, a minute and 11 seconds in to take a lead. But at least Toledo calms things down. They do respond. Nolan Moyle gets his 4th of the season from Conlon Keenan and Colin Swoyer. Love to see that, but then you also love to see who else but Brandon Hawkins taking the lead at this point. 28th goal of the season from Tyler Spezia and Carson Bantle. At this point in the game, you see At this point in the game, you see Trenton Bliss leave the game. You see Carson Bantle slot in for him, and that line still produces. Shocker, right? We all knew that line could still produce basically with almost anyone else in this team that you slot into Bliss's place, and it's just great to see consistent scoring when you're doing that. You can put anybody there with those guys and they're all going to produce. And Carson Bantle gets an assist, which he doesn't have many of those. He's a lot of goals, not a lot of assists. So it's always good to see him get the helper on a goal. But Iowa does respond in this period as well, though they end up getting 2 more goals to take a lead. Luckily, in the third period here, Sam Craggs again gets his 2nd of the game, 13 of the season from Hawkins and Pietila to tie things up. And then this game goes to overtime. A lot of action in overtime, but no results in that for either team. Toledo has 2 shots on goal. Iowa has 3. Then it goes to a shootout. And unfortunately, which shockingly, because Toledo seems really good in the shootout, they don't walk away with a win here, which usually when I'm looking at stats and I see a shootout loss, I kind of have to double take and make sure I read that right. And yeah, it happened.
I think this is their first shootout loss of the year. And
it would make sense. Yeah, it is. You're right. I just glanced over. It is. It's their first shootout loss of the year.
Well, Flo went haywire on me and wouldn't let me basically watch the third or anything after. But you see Hawkins doesn't score in the shootout, Ness doesn't score, and then Iowa wins in the shootout, or the tweets by the team. So I really like the 10-minute overtime in the 3-on-3.
Do you?
I do.
I don't.
10 minutes might be too long. I think 7 is fine. But again, like this league, if you got to get on a bus and then bus 4, 5, 6 hours, then it would be a lot. That's where I could see down here it would be very tedious. I just don't love the shootout.
Yeah, I come from the crowd where I hate 3-on-3 overtime. I hate it.
Why?
Because it's just this stalemate possession battle. It's not exciting. The first 10 games the NHL had of 3-on-3 overtime were the peak of 3-on-3, where it was just back and forth. No one gave a rip. They just were trying to score. And then it became this chess match that is unbearable sometimes to watch, where you enter the zone, I'm going to back out of the zone. I'm going to enter the zone, I'm going to back out of the zone. I hate it. I think it's terrible for the game, honestly. I just think you lose interest in it. And then you get these plays where you, like I said, you enter the zone and back out into the zone. And then maybe you get something that looks good and you enter the zone, you get a shot off, and maybe you don't. How many 3-on-3s do we cover where you see 1 to no shots from either team in the overtime? Because they're just skating around with the puck. If I wanted to watch guys skate around with the puck, I'd go watch a youth game, because there's not a lot of scoring in those half the time. I think it's the worst thing in the world. What is the solution for it? Don't ask me. I don't have one. But at the same time, I hate 3-on-3. And if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. If you agree with me, then thank you. You can also let me know and make me feel validated for a second. But at the same time, I hate it. I like shootouts. I think they're fun. But I think they're better for the game when you're talking about growing the game and getting viewers, because some of those shootout goals, like when you think of Patrick Kane skating out for a shootout, you hear that name announced in the shootout, your head turns to the TV immediately, because you're going to watch something cool. Same with Brandon Hawkins, same with Ness so far this season in the shootout too. But 3-on-3 is just so freaking boring, man. I hate it. Sorry, that's my rant. Back to the game.
Down here, I'll confirm with you, they've been back and forth down here. I don't know if it's because it's the coast, it's a little more wide open, guys are more willing to go for it. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of 3-on-3. I think it's the best decision they've made. I'd rather see games end in a 3-on-3 than the skills competition. That's just me. I'd rather see a true hockey play win a game. Not saying a breakaway is not, but most of the time on a breakaway, you have somebody back checking you. So
So you want the shootout to start with a guy that's like 20 feet back and he's got to chase him down.
No, you'll never do that
That's
because
sick.
of injuries. You'll never do that because of injuries, because it just takes one guy to fall and break a leg flying into the boards, and then that's over.
I mean, fair enough, but that also the idea of that is sick. Just want to say ultimate chaos.
I don't hate the shootout, but I like 3-on-3 more than the shootout. I like the shootout. I was a forward. I was pretty good on the breakaways when I played youth hockey. Like, that was like one thing I actually excelled in, and for me to say that, it's like, yeah, I'd rather see it end in 3-on-3. Like, yeah, it's not what it was, 4 or 5 years ago, but like, I'll say this, at least at the Toledo level, you see it way more exciting than it is in the American League. But I mean, I don't know if you watch Sweden and Canada play 3-on-3. That was back and forth for almost 7 minutes.
Yeah, and you know what? You don't see that in any NHL game. But anyways, back to the game. Because I say I like shootouts, but I hated them this night because obviously we lose in one. But I just want to talk about some of these goals. Like the power play goal for Craggs to start the game off. Again, in the slot, the puck ends up finding him from behind the net play, and he just rips it from the slot. And again, you put Sam Craggs in the slot wide open, you're probably going to have a bad time if you're the other team. And for him to, not only score that goal, but to have a 2-goal game here, huge for him. Like, you absolutely love to see it. But that play specifically, like, that's kind of what we talk about with the Griffins. Like, you want those behind the net plays where the puck ends up finding it to the high danger area right there, and there's a guy that just happens to be open. You want to see more of that. And it's really the perfect execution there when you're talking power play action.
It is, and how he got so alone in front of the net like that, I don't know what happened there for Iowa. I mean, if you go back and watch it, he was standing still, wide open, basically.
They forgot him.
Definitely a defensive breakdown there. Yeah, it was just that's power play, how you want the Griffins to run it. Like, that's what you want to see from the Griffins. I know you guys are like getting burned out of seeing terrible power play. Maybe you guys can come down here and they'll go 2 for 3 and you can go home with a couple free chilies with a purchase. So
there you go.
We'll see. But yeah, great play by Craggs. Great shot.
And then, of course, the Hawkins goal, a beautiful wrister, as you would expect from him. The guy's shot's just unreal. And again, just a great look by Spies to find him. And
yeah.
The end result is what you would expect when you put Hawk in that position with the ability to get a wrist shot off. That's exactly what you would expect.
Time and space. We've said it for weeks. Can't give it to him. And if you give him that much time and that much space, he's going to make you pay. And he made him pay.
Yeah. And then, again, the last Craggs goal, just kind of a great individual effort from him. He gets the puck at center ice there and just skates it in and just out muscles the defenseman there and does his thing. And again, you let him get up close to your goalie like that, you're probably going to have a bad time. And Iowa did at that point. And just, again, great to see the resiliency of this team find a way to tie it and keep it at least locked down to get it to that overtime period to at least get a point. But it's again, just good execution by the Walleye in this play.
Well, I think back to what Hawks said, the Cincy game where they were down by I think it was 2 goals, 3 goals. It was 2 or 3 late.
Yeah.
And they came back and had that furious comeback and tied it. And he's like, look, that point's going to mean something somewhere. Well, now you got another point where you came back and, that point's going to mean something somewhere. So credit to the team. I mean, we've heard how many people come on the show that are, you never feel like you're out of it, right? I mean, like, I remember talking to Billy. He's like, dude, we could be down by like 2 or 3 goals. And just with how good of an offense Toledo normally has, they're never out of a game. So it's just a credit to it. If they are down, never leave. Like, don't be getting up with 5 minutes to go, because with some of the guys on this team, anything's possible.
Oh, 100%. But I mean, to wrap up this part of the episode here, you go into Iowa, 2 games, you do take away 1 point. So you get one of the possible 4 points there. Not ideal, but also not, the start of the weekend that the Fish wanted.
The season's not over.
No, I know that. I'm not saying that. Jesus.
Panic button. Panic.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Everybody relax.
No, they played better Saturday than they did Friday. Friday, like, that score is kind of it shows more than it was 4-2, but it was an empty netter. I mean, it was a closer game. This is one that I think they should have had, and they were able to scrape by with the point.
They could have easily won both of these games too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, credit to Iowa's goalie too on Saturday. I mean, facing 38 shots in the game. That's no small task, especially the shots that this team releases.
Right.
But with that, before we hop into Sunday's game, let's hit a quick ad break. And then when we come back, recap Sunday's game, talk about our 3 stars of the week for the Toledo Walleye, and maybe a little extra. Who knows?
This NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going, but that just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out. And games left for you to get in the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
And we're back. All right, let's dive into this Sunday game on the road in Bloomington to take on the Candy Canes is what they looked like out there. What the heck was Bloomington wearing? You told me this is their third jersey. This should be a never jersey. This whole combination is kind of hideous.
A third jersey? I really don't know. Honestly, it looks like a wannabe version of the Canadians' old barber pole jersey.
You're almost spot on there. Like the socks stripe to match it, and then the red, white, and blue stripe they already have on the shorts. There's a lot of striping going on here. So they are not the Bloomington Bison in this game. They're the Bloomington Candy Canes, and that is how I'll reference them for the rest of this episode. But
Better than that, I think they were the Bloomington Barbers.
You know, that works too. Either way, if I go through 2 names, I'll get really confused, and I committed to Candy Canes in my head. But let's dive into this game here, because at least after those results in Iowa, the Walleye come back and win this one 5-2. And that's the Walleye we're used to talking about right there. High scoring, low goals against, and a big old W. I like talking about these games, so let's dive into it. The scoring in this one goes as follows. Mitchell Lewandowski kicks off the action. God, I'm so happy to have him back. 14th goal of the season here from Sawyer and Craggs to kick off the action. Bloomington does come back and tie this just a few minutes later, though. But, of course, like we said, we're going to talk about him a lot this weekend. Sam Craggs gives the Walleye back the lead to end the first period, his 14th of the year, unassisted as well.
That was gross.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. It was gross. No scoring in the second period there. Bloomington actually outshoots Toledo 8-7 in this period. There's not a lot of action, just close battle. But going to the third period here, and this is what the Walleye do. They just run away with it in the third period sometimes, and that's exactly what they did. 5 minutes in, Hawkins gets his 29th of the season from Russell and Spezia. Just a few minutes later, Spezia gets his 24th of the season from Hawkins and Bantle. Look at Bantle getting another assist. Love to see it. Bloomington does get a goal back here on the power play to get things a little closer, but Tyler Spezia gets his second of the game with the empty net goal, 25th of the season, and that's all she wrote for this one. Toledo goes 0-for-2 on the power play. Bloomington goes 1-for-5. The Walleye get outshot 35-33. Just some crazy high shot numbers this weekend. Good Lord. In goal for this one, you had Jan Bednar stopping 33-35 in this one. And a name that, if you've been around hockey for a while, Bloomington's new goaltender, Kazimir Kaskasway. I know I said his last name wrong. If you know him, you follow him. He's got a YouTube channel. I follow it. It's actually some interesting stuff. If you're a goalie guy, I'd recommend it. But they just signed him recently, and he's spent time in NHL, AHL, all over the place, overseas, and they actually got themselves a good goalie here. I think this was his debut with the team, and rough to have to face the Walleye in your debut with the team. Let's just say that. But let's talk about these goals and how they happen. The Louis goal to start off the action was kind of just a crazy bounce off the boards that ends up, just eluding 4 Bloomington players. They all kind of just lost track of the puck. I think they thought it was going to come around. It bounces right into the slot. Louis capitalizes and rips it home, which is exactly what you'd expect him to do from that position.
And nothing says welcome back like a free gift up the middle.
Oh my God.
Doesn't look like the defender's paying attention to the puck at all. He's just kind of paying attention to Louis, and Louis just snaps it in. And it's just like, there you go.
Exactly. And then, like you said, the Craggs goal, disgusting. Just, I don't even know how to begin to describe this play, honestly. It looks like, when you're watching it, just a bad play from coming out from behind the net from Bloomington. They turned the puck over right in the slot. And like I've said probably 3 times this episode already, if you give Sam Craggs the puck in the slot unattended, you're going to have a bad time. He makes a couple nifty moves to beat the goalie and buries it.
I don't want to say that he should be in the shootout the next go around, but he had 2 breakaway goals this week. So if there's another shootout this year, maybe give him a look.
I would agree. And that's just if I'm on Bloomington side here looking at that turnover, I'm just screaming. Like, that's an ugly turnover right there.
Yeah, that was gross. Like, just that whole play, like, what are you doing? And then it's like, uh-oh. And then it's like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah. Then the Hawkins goal, just a weird one. Honestly, just a puck bouncing kind of everywhere here. And again, just Bloomington failing to kind of clear it out of their zone. He shoots it once, it bounces off the goalie, goes to one guy, he shoots it, comes back to Hawk again, and Hawk rips it home. Like, I guess 3rd time's the charm when you're trying to score on this play.
Reminds me of pinball.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, what was funny is the admin put no Sunday scaries here. That's pretty scary for Bloomington when he has the puck.
It's scary for any opposing team when the puck is on that man's stick. Let's be real. And then Spezia goal. Spezia gives it to Hawk, who rips it. It goes wide, bounces off the backboard, just happens to land right in front of the goal post, and the Bloomington goalie had no clue it was there, and Spezia just taps it home.
Were they playing at Joe Louis? Like,
the boards were lively in Bloomington.
That screamed Joe Louis, and like we're gonna have to ask him this week. I'm like, hey, did you miss the net on purpose to get Spezia on the backboard rebound? Like, he's gonna say no. He's gonna say no, or he's gonna say yes. You're in a lose-lose situation there. So,
I mean, yeah, you don't really know what that guy's gonna tell you when you ask him a question like that. But he'll tell you, well, yeah, I didn't miss. I did that on purpose, 100%.
He'll probably be like, yeah, if I'm gonna miss the net, they're gonna score on the rebound. Like, come on.
Right, exactly. And then, of course, Spezia adds the empty net there. 25 goal season now for Spezia. I think we asked when we talked about him hitting the 20 goal mark if he'd hit the 25 mark, and we were like, yeah, he probably will. Well, he hit it. So does he crest the 30 goal mark this season? I'm hard to bet against that one, eh?
How many games they got left? How many games they got left here?
I have no clue. You're supposed to know that stuff. I'm not that guy. Not that guy, pal.
You're not that guy?
Come on, Chief.
Not that guy.
They got 22 to go. Do you think he can get to 40?
Oh.
Could we get 2 40-goal guys this year?
The way he's playing right now, it's hard to say no that he wouldn't get. Like, he's gonna get that if he's playing the way he plays this way the rest of the season. Like, I got to look at his stats and just see what his points the last few games have been. But I mean, heck, there was one weekend we were talking about 10 points in 5 games or 4 games, something like that. 17
points in the last 10 games. He has 9 in the last 5. And
yes, Griffins fans, it's still that Tyler Spezia that you remember playing here. Yes, that is him.
And you partner that with another guy that's got 9 points in 5 games and 18 in the last 10. So they literally
Time to call him up. Bring him back. This is where our offense is. This is what we talked about on the Griffins episode. Where's our veteran scoring? It's right there under your nose. Dan?
Yeah, if you call one up, though, you got to call both up. And I think Toledo fans will physically fight us for that.
Could be a fun 4th line.
Oh, my God.
I'm looking at this, too, like, there's two races I want to watch here as we go down the stretch. Can Hawkins get to 100? And can Spezia get to 40 goals?
Yes and yes. They're all entirely possible.
Like, it's going to be tight. Like, Hawkins has 67 points in 50 games. So he's got to get a little over 30 points in the last 22 games. Definitely is attainable with how gifted he is. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I would say so. But that does wrap up the weekend of games for the Toledo Walleye. Like we said earlier, they still lead the Central Division there. They have a 10-point gap over Iowa. You're talking about, the conference itself. Of course, they still have the lead in that as well. They have 71 points. Kansas City behind them at 67, with Tahoe behind them at 62, actually in a three-way tie for third place in the Western Conference. Then you go to the league, sitting third in the league, actually tied with Three Rivers there. And then, of course, Florida still leading the whole darn thing. As expected, nothing really changes much there. At least when we talk about their standings, they're staying where they're at. But I want to get into who are the 3 stars of the weekend for the Toledo Walleye. And I think we obviously know who the first star is just based on the results over the weekend. It's got to be Sam Craggs, right?
Oh, absolutely. You have a weekend like that. He scored, 4 goals?
Yeah.
4 goals, 5 points. Hell of a weekend for him. I was so happy, like we said earlier, it'd been a while since he scored, and then he's all of a sudden got 4 in 3 games. So hopefully he can keep her going offensively. And boy, you can kind of tell what having Louis back in the lineup's done for that second line already. It's no coincidence he comes back and Craggs has 4 goals and Louis on the score sheet everywhere too.
And looking back at it too, I don't think I can remember a Walleye game where Craggs hasn't scored a goal while I'm in the building, so he's good for 1 on Saturday. At least I've seen the Hattie. I've seen him score just 1 in a game, but I've seen him score pretty much every time I've come down to Toledo.
That Hattie was nuts. That was 3 straight shots.
That was beautiful. It was in the playoffs. It made it even better. Oh, but yeah, second star of the weekend. I think it's kind of split here.
Yeah, we gotta go. We're gonna go with the Twins.
The Twins, Brandon Hawkins and Tyler Spezia. Yeah, they can share this award this week.
Yeah, they can be in second, and that's that. Twins, and we'll move on. They get the flowers.
Yeah, they get enough flowers on this show. We don't need to give them any more than that. Who's our third star of the week, though?
I'm gonna go Louis. I think Louis or Ness. I mean, Ness had a pretty good weekend. Louis had a good weekend, so one of those two. We have a tie for third. You guys could be the tiebreaker. I don't really care. Either one's more than qualified to get the third star.
I'm going to give it to Louis. 3 points. I know Ness had 2 points this weekend. I'm going to give it to Louis, though. 3 points over the weekend here. Just like we've said multiple times already. He's a big boost to this lineup, and having him back means so much to the team. And just the way he plays the game, he definitely just adds another element to an already great team. So having him here hopefully consistently, can we keep him here consistently for a little bit? I think is just going to really set the pace for this team to continue rolling. I know we talked about an episode with 2 losses here, but they're still rolling. Let's be real.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just because you lose, they've only lost 1 regulation game in the last, 7 or 8, something like that. So,
yeah.
I mean, they're still on a roll, and look, Friday was his first game back. Louis.
Yep.
Point per game since he came back.
Can't ask for much more than that.
No, you can't. Absolutely not. And, his last game that he had played was the 15th of January. So he didn't play for a month. Comes back and is a point per game player.
Yeah, and it's not like while he was gone, he was playing consistent games with Milwaukee, right? He just wasn't. So
he played on January 1st, or no, January 10th, January 12th, January 14th, and 15th, and then nothing after that.
Goodness.
So just practicing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really great to have him back in the lineup. I'm super excited about that. But those are our 3 stars of the week. Let us know in the comments who you thought were the 3 stars of the week for the Toledo Walleye, and see if they're any different from us. It's hard to be different than that group there, especially when you throw the Twins in the middle. But if you have a different opinion, let us know. But let's talk about their upcoming schedule, right? Obviously, we know about the weekend that's coming up here because we're going to be down there for at least one of the games. But we do have a weekday game in the mix of that as well. They do play in Cincinnati on Wednesday. And then you've got Kalamazoo at home Friday, and you got Iowa coming to town you got Kalamazoo Friday and Saturday, and Iowa coming to town on Sunday. Hopefully a little revenge on Sunday, and you've got some fun theme weekends as well for the Walleye. Obviously, you got the Heritage hockey jerseys coming out Friday night. I think they're giving away a bobblehead for a player who's pretty well known around there. I don't know. you got their Jeep Fest, they're calling it, on Saturday, which should be interesting. I'm not a Jeep guy. I can't really add anything to that. Sorry, folks. And then the kids takeover game on Sunday with those sweet jerseys. I really wish I had a way to get my hands on a game worn one of those, but the money is not there for that. But that jersey is really, really cool, and I'm excited to see that one on the ice. But this game in Cincy Wednesday, let's talk about that. What do you expect from this one, Travis?
Well, I got to apologize to Nick because I didn't even know they played Wednesday. He asked if they played Wednesday, so that's my bad to Nick there, buddy. I'm so out of it right now with work, and we're finally, like, kind of looks like we're out of snow for a little while. Cross our fingers.
Must be nice.
Yeah, dude, don't start. Look, it's the first of a 4 and 5, basically. Yeah, 4 and 5.
Yeah.
So, and it's on the road. Cincinnati's been coming on lately too. They've been huge turnaround here in the, I guess you would be in the second half, home stretch now. It's kind of, we're getting there. I know it's only February, but it creeps up on you quick. Should be a great game. I think the biggest thing is just come out and try to carry on what you did in Bloomington, what worked. Try to just keep playing at that 60-minute pace. I mean, they've been on a good run, so hopefully they can go down there and just take care of business.
Yeah, Cincy in their last 10, 3-5, 2-0. So, I mean, they've come on, but it's been still inconsistent. You just can't go into it treating it like it's a team at the bottom of the division, though, because we know what Cincy can do. So hopefully they can go in there, like you said, and build on what they did in Bloomington. Then you got the Kalamazoo Wings Friday and Saturday at home. It's always fun when these two teams meet up. And I'm excited to see this on Saturday. But it's a team that's 5-5 in their last 10, sitting at the bottom of the division right now, but have been making signings and acquisitions. I think they're trying to figure something out down there. But what can we expect from these games?
Well, it depends. If by some reason Chaz is back, he'll probably score. But if he's
you can usually expect that against the Wings.
if he's not back, it'll again. These two teams generally play each other pretty hard. I mean, if you look back to the last matchup, I believe was the Hockey Heritage game, and Kalamazoo won that game in overtime. So, look, anytime that any of these teams have Toledo on the calendar, that's like a circle the date, easy to get up for game, especially when they're both here because you're going to be in front of a packed house. It is kind of interesting to see a back-to-back in division and not like a home and home. Like you're playing the same team twice. That's Kalamazoo was so close. Now, if it's like Iowa, that's coming from the middle of the country, that's one thing, but something you don't see a ton of, I don't think so much anymore. But
yeah, it is. It is fun though.
It is, and it could be a very interesting game Saturday night. Like you get some tension Friday, Saturday could be some fireworks for you guys down here.
There's always tension between these two teams, always.
Yeah, and look, it's a good matchup. It seems like it's always a fun game when these two play each other. So.
And then, you talk about, like you said, 4 and 5 days, the Cincinnati game on the road, these two games at home, and then Iowa comes to town, who you just lost back-to-back games to. You'd hope for revenge, but that's a brutal stretch leading into this game. What do you think they got to do to get ready for this one?
Come out fast. Like, I'm just going to kind of go off of what they've told me in the past. Start fast. They got to start on time. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Look, you're going to have a 3-3 at home coming out of a 4 and 5. I don't know what Iowa's schedule looks like, but there's going to be some like tough feelings, like memory from a couple weeks ago. So you're going to want to right the ship and kind of get back at them for them getting 3 out of 4 points against you. So again, that's a 4-pointer there. Nick, you've brought up 4-point games a few times, and with your division leads at 10, all of a sudden, it could be 12 or it could be 8, like what's that's where your 4-pointer comes into play. So it's a big game Sunday. I think theme night wise, I'm looking forward to that the most. Obviously Saturday, you guys in town, that's going to be the most fun part of the whole weekend. Like getting you guys down here, see you guys, and have Nick come through and experience the way different vibe of post game.
It's so different.
I'm excited to see what you think of it. Like, it's so much different than up in GR. But I mean, as a whole, you know, you get, like you said, Brandon, 4 and 5, and it's gonna be a fun weekend. A lot of events, like you've said. Friday, you got bobblehead night for Hawkins, the churn and the butter, paying homage to Alex Hicks.
Former guest of the show.
Yeah, former guest of the show. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. That was a great interview. All them ones were with the Storm guys. Saturday's Jeep Fest, and they're breaking out the Hockey Heritage Night also on Friday. Saturday, Jeep Fest, and then the kids. Man, that kids game, I wish you guys could be here for that one too. That's just, that uniform though is, I can't wait to see that jersey, man.
I hope the whole kit together just looks really good. And you mentioned you didn't know Iowa's schedule. I did pull their schedule for you just heading into that game. They play Wednesday at home against Bloomington. They're in Cincinnati Friday, day off Saturday, obviously with the travel to Toledo there on Sunday. So not an easy go for them either coming into it. They do get the Saturday off, but there's travel in there. Not that Cincy to Toledo is that far, but hey,
Still got a bus.
Still got to get on the bus. So it should make things interesting, and you're 100% right. I do wish we were there for the kids' game, but we have our duties up here in Grand Rapids with a sweet giveaway of their own up here as well. Plus, Nick will be there as a fan that night for the season ticket holder signings afterwards, so he's excited about that. And that giveaway is the Simon Edmondson Flying Toaster bobblehead giveaway. So that's one we're excited to add to the collection too. That's a freaking sweet one. So outside of that, though, man, I have nothing else to add to this episode. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to add?
What do you got, Nick?
Excited to be there on Saturday. I hope the boys are juiced. I hope they're ready. We'll be at practice, and then we got a couple of interviews lined up between then and game time, and just to be back in T-Town. Like, to me, like, last time we were there, it kind of threw me off when people came up to us because I forget that we do this. So, like, I'm like, oh yeah, you guys watch us, like, because while I'm here, I'm just always thinking I'm just talking with the guys, So yeah, be ready for that. I'll be a little thrown off for a minute when you come up to me, but yeah, come say hi. I'm excited to be back down there. Excited to see you, Travis, and we'll have our hats too. So hats and jerseys.
Excited to get my hands on those finally, and then we can launch them to the public. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I know the number of hats we had to supply to the people that have came on the show is so big. So it's like, I'm excited to see their reactions. I know the guys down here are pumped. That all of them, I'm like, hey, we got something coming for you. They're like, what is it? And I told them, they're like, oh yeah, 100%. So like, that'll be cool.
I'm excited to give them their stuff too, sure. But I'm more excited to actually release those to the public. Those hats came out looking so good. So I'm excited to, one, get mine, but then two, be able to release those to everybody else. So stay tuned for updates on that after we finally get our hands on those and organize how we want to sell them off. And who knows, maybe we'll give one away too. Who knows? Just keep your eye out. We'll do some fun stuff with it. But yeah, I'm just excited, man. It's gonna be a fun weekend getting down to Toledo. It's gonna be a crazy weekend for all of us. You got a 3-3 at home, Travis, to cover. Nick, you and I got Friday's game. We got Saturday in Toledo, and we got Sunday back in GR. It's gonna be a grind this weekend, but hopefully we'll have tons of fun content to share with everybody else there.
I do got one more thing.
Yeah, Travis.
You got this week, but then 2 weeks is Battle of the Badges. Got some fun stuff coming up about that. That probably makes next week's show. So
probably
be on the lookout for that. Be maybe a couple guests about what that game means, what it's about, where the charities involved, all that fun stuff. So and I know you guys are coming down for that whole day, so that's gonna be and I think you guys are staying down here, right?
I think so. That's the plan. We will figure that out. I don't know what's happening tomorrow, Travis. So I can't confirm or deny anything, but we are excited to get back-to-back trips to Toledo in. Like, that's super exciting for us to be able to do. So we're looking forward to it. Excited to see all the fans down there. Nick, did you have one last piece you wanted to add?
There will be a ton of content Some on
Ton.
Patreon, some for the rest.
Yeah, there will be a lot of content. I'm very excited for that. It's going to be a great weekend overall for just all the things hockey for us. So excited to share that with everyone. Excited to see you guys down in Toledo, but let's wrap this thing up. Thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode of the show. Remember, the first episode of the week is always Grand Rapids Griffins focused. The second one is always Toledo Walleye focused. So you always know what's coming when it's coming. We don't have set days yet because obviously our schedule changes constantly. But at the same time, we're looking forward to getting a set schedule. We'll announce that eventually here soon. But we always, But with that, we got to thank our sponsors of the show, of course, DraftKings and Everything Hockey Clothing Company. Make sure you head over to everythinghockey.com. Use code WEST to save a few bucks off your order. And of course, our Patreon subscribers as well. We got to thank them because without them, the show would not be possible. And those folks currently are
Alan, Derek, Elaine, Griffin, John, Lori, Michael, Randy, and Claire.
Thank you all. And if you want to join them, head over to patreon.com/HockeytownWest podcast. Like Nick said, we will have a ton of content from this weekend, and some of that stuff's going to end up on Patreon only. So make sure you head over there to check that out. But that is all we've got for this week, everyone. Have a fantastic weekend. As always, go Griffins and go Walleye.
See you in the bank. Love you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod and your host, Nick at GR Hockey Guy and Brandon at BrandonGR Hockey.